Okay, today I'm going to be looking at order of operations. This is chapter 1-2 for Algebra 1. When we talk about order of operations, we usually pretty quickly talk about Pemdas being parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. The one thing that people often forget about with those is that, the multiplication, division we do together left to right. And addition and subtraction, we do those together left to right also. So you want to make sure you write that down, and I'm going to jump in with problem 1 now. You should also write down that this was chapter 1-2, so you can keep your notes nice and organized. All right, the first problem I'm going to look at if I had something like this is an exponent kind of problem. What this really is 0.2 times 0.2 5 times, okay? It's a thing where now you can punch in your calculator. You also might know 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, 16 times 2 is 32. You get some zeros with that. I would tend to use a calculator on that. I get 0.00032. On your calculator, you're looking for one of these two buttons. Sometimes it has X to the Y. Sometimes it's upside down V. Those are your exponent buttons. So anyway, that's a simple exponent kind of problem. Next one, if I had, this one looks really scary, but it's actually really not bad. If I have a fraction to an exponent, I can take the numerator to that exponent, and I can take the denominator to that exponent. All right, which gives me, 1 squared is 1 times 1, which is 1, and 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is 16, and that's the answer there. Number 3. This one's a little bit more order of operations. So with this one, I do the PEM. So parentheses first. That means I'm going to start with that 6 minus 2 first, okay? And when I do that, 6 minus 2 is 4. Next, I'm going to do the exponents. So that's 4 to the 3rd power, which is, you can either use your calculator or not. 4 times 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. So that's 64. Now I'm done with the parentheses and the exponents. Next I do multiplication, division. I guess the only thing left to do is just divide those two. 64 divided by 2 is 32. And that's the answer. Okay? Let's see. That was number 3. Here's number 4. 6 squared divided by 4 times 9 plus 5 minus 2 squared. All right, so this one, once again, order of operations. If you start with the P. Do I have any parentheses? Oop, yep, I have parentheses here. So I should start there. 5 minus 2, that's 3. And I write down everything else. Next, I do exponents. I've got 2 sets of exponents, those 2 right there. So 6 squared is 36. 3 squared is 3 times 3 is 9. I'm going to keep everything else as it is. Okay. All right, so I did P, I did the E. Now I'm doing M and D, multiplication and division, left to right. So we don't do multiplication before division. I want to go left to right. So that's actually the first one, even though D comes first in that. We go left to right, multiplication and division together. All right, left to right. 36 divided by 4, that's 9. and now I do the multiplication part next. 9 times 9 is 81. And last but not least, I add those together, and I get my 90. Okay. All right, so I'm going to have you guys do a you try, which means you try the problem on your own, okay? You should do this on your own, see what kind of answer you get, and then you can bring it to class and show me what you got. Now, I'm going to be kind because it's one of the first classes here, and I'm going to give you the answer so you can know if you got it right or not. So at this point, you probably want to hit pause and then come back and see if you got the answer right. Do the problem out, okay? Hit pause. Okay, welcome back. So if you did this correctly, you should have gotten an answer of 132. All right, next, I'm going to have this problem here. Which number am I on again? 6. Evaluate when x equals 5 and y equals 2. And I got 2 of them here. X squared plus x minus 12 divided by y squared. All right, so this looks hard, but it's the same problem we just did, really almost exactly. The only thing is they told me that x is 5, so I'm going to plug in 5 here, and I'm going to plug it in there. And they told me that y is 2, so I'm going to take this 2, and I'm going to plug it in there where the y is, okay? So when I do that, I get 5, 5. Plug in the 2 for the y. Okay, and I get that. So this is really the same problem we just did. You just had to do a little substitution there. All right, so now I can do, let's see, parentheses, no parentheses, exponents. All right, I got 2 sets of exponents. That one and that one. 5 squared is 25. 2 squared is 4. All right, so now I'm here. Now I do multiplication and division left to right. There's only division. The only thing I see I can divide are those 2. That's the division part. 12 divided by 4 is 3. And now I do addition and subtraction left to right. 25 plus 5 is 30. And 30 minus 3 is 27. That's the answer. So that was A. Now here's B. Evaluate x, y squared divided by xy. And the same thing is, the same directions is up there. So x still equals 5 and y still equals 2, all right? So I'm going to substitute in the 5 and the 2. 5 goes in for the x. 2 goes in for the y. There's multiplication there in between that x and the y, both of them for that matter, okay? So I got 5 and 2. The rest of this stays the same, which means I got times sign, division sign. Okay, now let's evaluate it. I'm going to start with the parentheses. What's inside of the parentheses? 5 times 2 is 10 in both cases. Now I do exponents, which means I go 10 to the second power, which is 10 times 10, which is 100. And then last but not least, I divide. 100 divided by 10 is 10. And that is the answer. It's a lousy 10. It's a 10. All right. That was 6. Here's number 7. I think you should try this. I want you to evaluate when x equals 3 and y equals 4. And the expression is x squared minus 3xy divided by x plus y. All right, so you should simplify that out. All right, plug in 3, plug in 4, 3 for x's, 4 for y's, and then simplify and tell me what you got. All right, so if you want to hit pause for a minute, I'll show you what you end up getting. All right, so with this one, you actually end up getting a fraction. Negative 27 over 7 is what you end up getting. And I just leave it like that, okay? If you turn that into a decimal, that would be negative 3.857, okay, something like that. So one of those two answers. All right, great. So that was my last problem. And I want you to have a great night, and I'll see you in class tomorrow or soon sometime.